step one is we'll have our pieces here. You're going to have your iron already plugged in and hot, getting ready, waiting for you. Step one, it says to stitch pants front to pants back at side seam. And if you look at the pattern and you notice that there's like dark on the inside, that means that's the right side of the fabric. That's the patterned size. When you sew seams together, you're always going to have right sides together. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one of our pant fronts, which is right here. Get our side seam. We're going to take one of our pants backs. Make sure that these are the right match. In other words, the crotch part is in the same location. Okay. All right. We have our pattern pieces lined up. You're going to take this triangle notch and match it up with that triangle notch. That's how you know exactly how to line it up. Okay. I'm going to put my pins really close to the edge because we're doing a 5/8 seam allowance, and that way I won't have to take them out as I am sewing. They'll just go right next to my foot, presser foot. Okay, we are going to just line these up, pin them together. And make sure your edges are nice and straight. Put as many pins as you think you will need. Some people can keep it straight without as many pins. Some people want more pins. It's totally up to you. Mine are about 3 to 4 inches apart. Okay, I've got one pant leg. Now we will set that aside and do the other pant leg. Okay. That one and this one. Make sure the crotches are both on the same side. Yep. Then we will take our notches again. Make sure our triangles line up, which is interesting because sometimes it doesn't line up at the top or bottom, but that's okay. We are going to fix that anyways with our elastic and with our hemming. So we will just get this lined up. Kind of a tedious process here, but I want to make sure they're nicely lined up. Okay, now we will take it over to our machine and we will sew. All right, 5/8. If you look at the machine, my 5/8 line is right here. I am going to make sure that my fabric is lined up with this 5/8 spot right here. I'm going to get it underneath my needle. Need my presser foot, which is way over there. Okay, put your needle down. You're going to go, mine does a knot at the front. You're going to go forward, use your reverse, go back a few stitches, put it back to forward, and you're just going to sew this entire line, making sure that your 5/8 line is lined up with the edge of your fabric. And see how because my pins are super close to the edge, I don't have to pull them out. They don't go underneath my presser foot at all. need to just adjust my fabric here. You're just gonna hold on to your fabric with both hands. You know, everybody holds it slightly differently. My top fabric is pulling a little bit farther over than my bottom, but that's okay. You're gonna go up the entire thing. When you get to the end, you'll do your backwards thing again. Mine does a knot and cuts my thread for me. Okay. All right. Now you can take your pins out of that piece. And we will do our other one. Grab your other one. Your pins should always be facing the direction of your sewing, so away from you. So see how my pins are always going that way? Because that way you can pull them out toward you and not have to reach behind, you know, in order to pull them out. This is just the easiest way to do it. So when I line up my pieces to pin them together, I think first, okay, am I left or right? I'm lining it on the right, so I want to make sure that they're facing that direction. Okay, do your beginning again. Try to keep it on the 5/8 as much as possible. If you need to go slower, go slower. I find that for me, if I am going faster, I actually keep a straighter line because I'm not worried about shifting my fabric back and forth, back and forth. I just let the teeth pull it through and I just watch my 5/8 line. That's the only thing I am looking at is my 5/8 line. And you just let it glide through your fingers. Oh, see, I got over a little bit, but that's okay. It'll be fine. Do my backwards at the end to reinforce it. Take your pins out. Okay. Now we will always press our seams open unless otherwise noted in the pattern. This is not listed in part 1. Some patterns actually tell you which direction to press, some don't. So what we're going to do, go back to our iron. We're going to open up our pant leg on the back side. We do not want to do it on the front side. You're going to get your iron. Mine goes to sleep, so I'm going to wake it up here. And you're just going to stick your hand in the seam. You're going to use steam for this. And you're just going to open that seam up and use your iron to press it open. Sometimes if you pull the fabric taut at the end, it makes a nice, good open seam. Okay, I'm going to move my fabric down a little bit to get the rest. There we go. Just wiggle it back and forth a little bit to get it opened all the way. Okay, there's one pant leg. Let's do the other one. Oh, my pocket piece just fell on the ground. Okay, we'll open this up. Make it flat on your ironing board. Use your hand to gently open it up. Flannel stays pretty well. You don't have to do a huge amount of pressing. Pull it tight to get it to open up on its own at the end here. I made it all the way. Okay, I am going to show you now how to finish your raw edges. Now that you have your pant legs sewn together, you have this raw edge that can fray as you wash it and wear it, and we want to prevent that. This is not in your instructions for your pattern, but this is how you finish edges. So we're going to take that raw edge that we just pressed out, and we're just going to kind of shake it to separate it from the rest of the pant leg so that we have it by itself. Doesn't matter which side, we're going to do both sides. Okay, and you are going to set your machine so that it is on a zigzag stitch. My zigzag stitch is number 5. Every machine has a zigzag stitch. It's like the most used one after you do a straight stitch. Okay, so what you're going to do is, my zigzag goes 4 millimeters wide, so it goes from red line to red line on my presser foot. And I want to make sure that one of those times when it goes to the right, it goes over the edge of my fabric, enclosing the edge of my fabric. So I am going to line my fabric up with the red line on my presser foot. Okay, I'm going to lower it down, and I am going to start my thing, and it's going to start going back and forth over the edge of my fabric. I'm going to get closer here to see if you can see that. I'm just going to go right over my notch. Doesn't matter, we can cut those off at the end anyways. I'm catching the fabric when it goes to the left, and I'm going over the edge of the fabric when it goes to the right. And as you go along, you might have to stop and adjust your pant leg so that you're only catching the raw edge of your fabric and not any other edge. I'm gonna go faster just because it's just straight. Oh, and my thread broke. It's been doing that to me today. It's getting super annoying, but it happens. So I am just going to, come on. Oh, I need to raise my needle up. Reattach my thread. Something keeps pulling it super tight, and I'm not really sure what it is. And I think the reason it's breaking is because something's pulling it super tight. If that happens, just re-thread it and re-thread your needle. I'll cut my tail because it's really long. Okay, I'm gonna lift my presser foot up and go back to where it came back down at. I'm just gonna, okay, something's not right with my bobbin tension. We're gonna do this. Go up. Yeah, see, look, something's happening with my bobbin tension, because look at this. That is not what it is supposed to look like. So we will continue this video after I fix what's wrong. I think I fixed the problem. We'll see. I rethreaded everything, the bobbin and the machine, and I put a new needle in just in case. Yeah, it could be any one of those problems, so we'll see. It's done it to me all morning. So pause a little bit, get the pant leg out of the way. Seems to be working fine now. Cross your fingers. Oh, thread broke again. Something is wrong with my tension disc, I think, is what the problem is, because it's really tight. Where is it tight from, however? It's tight from this section. It's either too tight or it's too loose, and this is the tension. There's your tension disc, and then there's these other tension bars that you use. Let's raise the foot up. See if we fixed it. Let's start with a fresh bobbin string. We're just gonna go slow and hope that that fixes the problem. Okay, I can feel my pant leg peeking out over here, and I don't want it in the way. I don't want to catch the pant leg. Slow seems to be the way that we should go. So we're just gonna go slow. I really don't want to though. Okay, get the edge by itself. Ready to go backwards at the end. And mine, I'll tie a knot and cut it. Okay, hey, we got one edge done. All right, now you're gonna go to the other edge. You're just gonna shake it out. Get it so that this raw edge is alone. And you're gonna do the exact same thing to the other side. Sounds weird. We're just gonna go slow. Ugh. It kills me to go this slow. I want to go faster. Let's fix the pant leg here so it's out of the way. One at it. I'm going to cut these threads on the other side. Adjust it again. Make sure the pant leg's out of the way all the way down. Finish it off. Okay, you're going to do that exact same thing to the other pant leg, and then we'll head over to our iron. Here at our iron, mine's warming up, and we have a beautiful seam with finished edges that are not going to fray and unravel. I'm just going to cut these notches off just on the outside of that stitching, just because we don't need them anymore. And that'll just make it even prettier. Okay, you're just going to steam press down this seam one more time. This is just to get the white thread that we zigzagged, just to get it to lay flat. Because thread is a straight thing, and then you put it through a machine where it makes it curve, right? By nature, it wants to straighten out some more. So by steaming and pressing it, that just helps crease the thread so that it doesn't have a tendency to go out anymore, go straight anymore. So pressing is always a thing that you want to do whenever you're sewing. It's like the most important, actually, of what you want to do. All right, one pant leg. Let's get the other pant leg. And we'll straighten it out. We will take our scissors and we'll trim the notches. We're not cutting the thread of the zigzag. And then any extra threads, I have a few because this is the one that gave me troubles and I had to start and stop a million times. Okay, we've trimmed those. Now we will press this seam one more time. Get it to lay nice and flat. All right, that is your step one.